This playthrough is rated M for mature.
Eiger has trusted us with her story, and after all the, hardship she's given us, and toughness, can we break through that exterior and help her, solve her little story? Well, let's find out. Greetings and salutations, viewers. Vauldemare back here with another episode of Shadowrun Dragonfall. In the last episode, we did post-mission cleanup after, turning in that one guy. Some of our, colleagues got mad at us, but didn't actually do anything about it. We talked to them, and most of them unlocked, or at least two of them, Eiger and Gloria unlocked their side quests, which we're going to do Eiger's today. And we learned that the Fire Wing is delivering some stuff to her abode. What does that mean? Who knows, but we have to fight her either way. So let's keep doing runs until we can force Alice's fund. So let's go today. So call Eiger and travel to the Shotton Nest to locate the engineer. Alright, and we can always select one person for the job, which is Eiger. So, and we're good to go. And make sure you have the cyberware deactivator ready to go, because it's it helps with the mission. So, alright. And Eiger's set as always. So let's go in. I was about to say as soon as the game loads. The engineer, Shotton Nest. The Kia is next door to the cruise bazaar, and an object lesson in anarchy gone wrong. Violent gangs rule the streets here, trading territory to the roar of gunfire. The streets are a war zone. As dangerous as Shotton Nest already is, it could be worse. The gangs are vicious but disorganized. They pose little risk to their neighbors, with little more than a makeshift barricade and a few volunteers. The cruise bazaar has successfully insulated itself from the chaos of its neighboring Kias. The engineer could change all of that. He has to be stopped, and the F-State as a whole needs to be alerted to what his clients are trying to do. It's up to you and Eiger to make sure that happens. Alright, just set yourself up however you want to go. Since there's no decking involved in terms of actually going to the Matrix, we can equip our 2 drones, which will help with the fights. Alright, do I really need to do anything with Karma right now? A lot of times I can just kind of leave Karma alone for the most part. If you have a decent charisma, if you have a, street, let's see, etiquette, not street, street, I think it's just etiquette street or whatever it is, now my brain's like shaw for a moment, that would help. If you have drone control, that helps. If you have 5 strength, that could help. I think those are the ones you really need. So, let's see. Can we upgrade? Let's see. That'll just give me Excalibur, S-class drones. That would give me more accuracy if I do that. So let's upgrade drone control a bit. Why not? And drone combat. They'll help with the fighting there. So. As you near the edge of the cruise bazaar, the familiar piss and asphalt stench of the Shotton Nest crawls into your nostrils and sticks in the back of your throat. The dilapidated husks of burnt-out buildings loom above you, giving the place an air of menace. I was hoping I'd put this place behind me after the Humanist run. Yes, I'm with you there. She wrinkles her nose. The funny thing is, a syndicate presence might actually help Shotton Nest, in the short term at least. They'd clean up the streets, if nothing else. And in that case, maybe we should just forget about this. Eiger stares at you. Not on your life. A syndicate, any syndicate, is Shotton Nest, would be a disaster for the cruise bazaar. Let the people on the other side of the gate deal with their own problems. I won't allow my home to be endangered for their sake. Yeah. Good to know you care about your home there. Oh, these guys again. Hey, gatekeeper. We met once before. You again? Well, you ignored my warning last time and you ain't dead, so I guess you can handle yourself, he sighs. Let him through, Sergey. Alright. Back inside we go, so. And there's a cardboard box here. What is in this box? With circles and dots. The cardboard box is filled with a makeshift bedding. A homeless person must be using it to keep warm at night. Let's search this box. You find a basic, uncertified cred stick beneath the pillow. Take it. We get 56 new yen and a dirty soul for doing it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but I took it just because I'm a jerk. So, alright. Let's see what this place has to offer. Pickup. Let's see what's there. I got some bliss, alright. Or, send that to the stash. Let's see. thought there was some, I guess we have to go further in. Rambach gang ahead. Maybe there's a way around. Oh, okay. Yeah, you could go straight forward. There's, I think, like 4 dudes. One of them's like a conjurer, standard combat, but since this game doesn't reward combat, no reason to fight them. So, obviously, if you want to, that's fine. I'm just saying that it's not necessary. You can easily avoid them, so. Alright, what do we got here? Oh, looks like just a bunch of layabouts. Let's see if they know anything. Hello, sir. What do you want? Just looking for some information. I bet you are. I've seen your type before. You're probably looking for someone or looking for something that's been stolen. Either way, the Rambach won't be happy about you sticking your nose in the shut nest. I'm new in town. What's hot around here? Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. All there is to do in shut nest is get your arse beat by gangs until you decide to join one. Which gang are you in? I'm still in the former camp. I've heard what the Rambach do to Hayes' new members. I'm getting pushed around every once in a while over that. Alright, I'm leaving. Nothing from that guy. Just a little world building, I guess. Alright, how about you, random lady? I got pots and pans. You need pots and pans? No, but some info would be nice. You see any new friends of the Rambach show up lately? Yeah, sure I have. What do you? The woman eyes you up and down, clearly waiting for you to make an offer. So, if you want some information from her, you can either pay 50 nuyen or do street etiquette. But you still have to pay her 25 for her trouble. So, and she doesn't really help out, so there's really no reason to do this. So, I'll see you around, lady. Then there's some other information she can give you later on, which requires you to have either 5 strength or etiquette street or decent charisma. But again, you get to learn all that naturally. Well, some things you can't learn naturally, but, you know, through the era of save scumming, you can learn some things. The engine's still warm. Colors on the tail clearly mark it as Rambach property. All right. Let's check the panel here. The warehouse door is a windowless slab of reinforced densiplast. A keypad entry system sits to one side. So if you have decking 5, we can just straight up bypass it. Inputting the code. To input the code, you have to talk to that pots and pans lady. And she actually doesn't tell you the full code. She'll say it's 292 something, and you have to figure out what the last number is. So the actual number is 2924 by process of elimination. Or you can ask Eiger to bust open the door. You don't want to do that because it makes a lot of noise, and it'll give the enemy a drop on you that's on the other side of the door. You have to fight anyone no matter what you do on the other side, but let's talk to Eiger just to see what she says. Got any ideas, Eiger? It looks secure. She examines the heavy door, scowling. I might be able to blast it open with a controlled explosive, but that'd spook anyone inside. Probably best if we just find the code. But yeah, let's just go and deck it, so bypass the code input mechanism. The door unlocks. But yeah, you get into a fight no matter what. On the other side, it's just if they're spooked, you know, it's a bit different, so. But either way. Is there? That's our man. So it looks like there's the engineer there, so. Alright, do I want to just stay put? I mean, it might take some damage. Well, obviously I want to. You know, let's just hide just away from people so that way they don't see me. Alright, and then let's drone control the links. See any good? Not really any really good spots here. That would be. And then Eiger, since we don't have, unfortunately, we don't have Dietrich anymore. We can't buffer up like we usually do. So we'll just have to. But you know, she's still good either way. So that's like it's the same hit either way. So oh, let's see. Yeah, we got a conjurer here and a ganger. Don't see me as some conjurer of cheap tricks now. Ah, I was hoping that would hit the crit thing. So. Alright, I gotta summon an ally. I mean, we weren't gonna kill her the first time anyway, but Or him. I can't really tell. It looks like he's buffing, so. Alright, let's see if we can. Well, might as well drone control the Doberman while we're here. Yeah, I was hoping to get the shot there. Take the shot. Nice. All right. Just move up closer to this this guy right here, the ganger. There's the engineer. There's nothing you can do. He'll run away the first time anyway, so. I better run now. Yeah, unfortunately, until I get a better drone, the Doberman is basically just there to try to possibly get better numbers out of them. You know. Let's see what you're to hit 71 or 64, right? No, obviously I want to go with the 71. Nice. Anyone else here? Nope. There we go. Can we go ahead and shut off the Doberman? Because I need some AP, so because we'll need it for up ahead when we. Oh, and if you're a summoner, there's a summoner spot right there. So. Yeah, if I had a better drone, this would be a little bit more tolerable. But unfortunately, I want to save my money for the next time our the shops upgrade. Like I said the Doberman is just there to get like possibly improve my percentages. So. Okay, we have to go into that room anyway. So I've forgotten that there wasn't anyone in these next couple of rooms. So. I mean, technically I could shut off the Doberman again until I get over there so I could get a couple of AP, so. Let's just move. Up there. I was trying to get her a little, like, right at the door, but I guess it doesn't matter, so. Let's see. Just gotta make sure reload, everyone's good to go. Just gonna drone control the Doberman again, or not the Doberman, the Lynx. Alright, we've got a mage and a lieutenant over there, so, which is just a guy you can fight, so. Ooh, that's a lot of damage, nice. Is that a 2? No, that's, okay. Let's see if we can hit that guy and finish him off. Ah, so close. Ow. Can I see them from there? Nope, okay. I mean, I guess I could drone control the Doberman, too. So I get some extra damage. If I can hit them. Nah. His percentages are so low, it's like ridiculous. Luckily you never... I mean, you do have to actually reload the drone weapons, but it almost never happens to the point where I have to actually do that. You got a ton of perfectly good drones to hit there. Why aren't you hitting them? Yeah, I didn't think I was going to hit. 40% is pretty low. There we go. I'm just going to turn off our... untap those guys. Alright, and untap you. Need that for this next section up ahead, so... Taking a bit of damage, but nothing we can't handle. Alright, we've got a Ramrock, Rambach Forcer there. I was about to say it might finish it out by herself, but yeah, sure, we'll try to. Oh, come on! Ugh, didn't even need to take that damage. It's because you missed from an 8% shot game. Well, luckily we have a. Okay, we can shut off the Doberman or Lynx again. I don't remember there being anything down that way, so. Okay. Do you need to heal? Let's see, how much damage have you taken? Yeah, quite a bit, so yeah, let's go ahead and waste a turn healing you. I'm probably fine. Alright, let's go out into the streets. Okay, there's the engineer. So what I need to do with you, if I can do it, let's see. Yeah, he's gonna keep running. He's really annoying. So what we need to do is we need to hit. Let's see. We need to try to hit them with this grenade if we can. Okay, frozen, and I'll take him out for a couple of turns. So I need to full move towards him and hit him with the with this item. So with the cyberware deactivator. So he's out. All right, nice. And what usually what would happen is gangers would like come up on you. So whoops. Jeez. All right, let's run back. I didn't realize they would get a full turn to like wreck me. So probably should have. There's real no good spots to hang around in, is there? Okay, let's turn on the links. And then let's mark you if we can. Can't really hit that. Well, we can try. Yeah, I didn't think I'd hit it. You need to move closer, dude. Can I hit you with a mark thing here? Yeah. So that's nice. There we go. Help me drag this guy back to the warehouse. We're going to find out what he knows. Alright, let's do it. Yeah, that was kind of cheap that I got hit so badly with a... Like, what did they do? 27 damage to a grenade on me? Ugh. The engineer lies. Yeah, if the thing to make that fight harder is he'll run past those guys into the back alley, so you have to like chase them all around until you can get to him. But if you do what I did, you can get that like almost out of the way almost immediately, so you don't have to fuss about it too much. The engineer lies splayed out on the ground, his body trembling violently. Eiger shoves a bottle up his nose and squeezes. The engineer shudders violently, and the trembling begins to subside. She glances at you. An aerosol BZD to help treat the seizures. Bonnick was kind enough to include it in his goodie bag. It won't last long, but it should give Louis here enough muscular control to answer a few questions. The engineer's voice comes out in a trembling shudder. Fuck, troll! Or fuck you, troll. Eiger raises an eyebrow. See, he's talking already. The engineer's eyes burn with hate. Beads of sweat dot his brow as he struggles to control the tremors that rack his body. He takes a deep breath, holds it, and releases it slowly to trembling. The trembling begins to subside. Punch him in the gut. The wind explodes out of the orc's lungs as your fist slams into his belly. His breath stinks of harissa and garlic. After a few panicked seconds, he manages to gasp out a word. Bastard! Hit him again. Language. You slam your fist into the bridge of the engineer's nose. His head whips back, then comes forward again. A glob of phlegm splatters against your chest. The engineer cackles at you, a malevolent grin on his face. You sucker punched me before, okay? I admit it, I was not ready. His voice sounds stronger now. The stutter that marred his speech was almost completely faded away. Now I am, and you, my darling human, are weak. A word of advice that I give you, you'd best kill me here. I mean that. He fixes his gaze on you. Because if I ever get off this floor, I'll snap you in half like a twig, and then I'll do the same to your she-troll friend. If you did manage to get up off that floor, you'd make it about a step and a half before you start convulsing. You're helpless, Yuli. Eiger smiles. He's right, Juno. You're completely at our mercy. Tell us, Yuli, whose payroll are you on? She grabs a fistful of the orc's hair and lifts his head, her face to inches from his. Tell us who sent you to Shattered-Nest. There's a long pause. Eventually the engineer looks away. All right, you want to know so badly? I'll tell you. Autonomous sent me. They want to use Shattered-Nest as a base in operations in Berlin. My point of contact is a ghoul named Beetle. He leans forward and locks eyes with Eiger. There, you got your intel. Now set me free or kill me. Yuli. Eiger leans back, shaking her head. You wouldn't roll over on an employer this easily. Your rep tells me that much. He raises an eyebrow and a look of mock astonishment. No? No, Eiger's right. You're jerking us around. You wanted a name. I gave you a name. Want more? I can give you those too. I can name you hundreds of clients who will have a piece of Shattered-Nest. How do you intend to determine who really sent me? I've got a couple ideas. The engineer smirks. You can try beating the truth out of me. You can try cutting on me. Get creative with the pliers if you like. Every time you hurt me, I'll give you a different name. Torture me or don't. It'll all end the same way. I'll be dead and you'll know nothing for certain, and my clients will move ahead on schedule. Cooperating, maybe it doesn't have to end that way. Maybe you'll get out of here alive. He snorts. You think I'm delusional, man? I'm already dead. The she-troll beside you is going to put a bullet in my brain as soon as she gets what she wants. Just look at her. Take a long look at that ugly troll face. She's just aching to put me in the ground. Eiger's hands bunch into fists. She's still smiling, but you can feel the heat of the hatred behind her eyes. You've got bigger issues to worry about than my face, Yuli. If you don't start telling me what I want to hear in the next 30 seconds, this is going to get messy. Yeah, I know that look, Yuli. I'd start talking if I were... The engineer cuts you off. A perverse smile has spread across his face. You know, Eiger. He takes his time pronouncing the name, savors it. I'd like to tell you a story. We share so much history, you and I. Eiger says nothing, but her eyes narrow. The engineer continues, his grin broadening. This is a funny story. It's a story about your time in the KSK, a story about futility. I can tell you all about that many lives you touched and how the syndicate touched them again afterwards. Would you like that? There's a long pause. Eventually, Eiger turns to face you. Backfire, do me a favor. Sweep the building for intel. Anything that we might have missed on the way in. Yeah, I'm on it. Take good care of a friend here. She shoots a disgruntled glance at your captive. Yeah, don't worry. I will. Alright, well, let's see what's around here. Maybe we can use it to convince this dork. Alright, let's take a look at these barrels over here. Chemical storage barrels. A light jostle shows that they're completely empty. Alright. Ooh, a courier drone. It looks melted. The cargo container is empty. Let's see here. This generic courier drone has been snapped together out of a prefab parts from a dozen different manufacturers. It's a cheap utilitarian thing, remarkable only in that it's so incredibly plain. A half-bright teenager could cobble something like this together in an afternoon. The drone sits in a charging cradle, its turbofan unpowered. A cheerful green light blinks on its front panel to remind you it's still active. You can still see the silhouette of something under the flimsy plastic dome of the drone's cargo compartment. Whatever this thing was to deliver is still carrying it. Pop the lid of the cargo container. You depress the catch on the container's plastic lid. Rather than swinging open, the lid slides back to reveal a touchpad. Looks at those things is password locked. If you have Intelligence 2, you can get something from it. If you have a Drone Control 4, you can basically just rig this thing. You can get what you need by smashing the plastic, but you end up losing out on a unique reward if you do that. So I'd suggest to find the password if you don't have anything else. I already know what the password is, but I'll tell you how to get it here in a second. But we're just gonna rig it. Let me intelligence it first and then rig it. Examine the drone more closely. Taking a closer look, you notice something strange. There's a set of electrical contact plates lining the lip of the drone's cargo compartment. It's a fair bet that this thing is outfitted with an anti-tampering system of some kind. All right, let's rig the drone. Patching into the drone's OS via your remote control rig is simple enough, but you run into a hitch. Whoever set this thing up seems to have installed a number of anti-theft safeguards to prevent unauthorized access. You could attempt to slip past them, but there's no telling what will happen if you trip one. Attempt to push your way past the safeguards. Whoever put this thing together was good, surprisingly good, but not as good as you. You slip past the drone's safeguards, and within seconds, its functions are yours. Open the lid. The plastic lid of the cargo container pops open with a click. Inside, you'll find what appears to be a homemade SimSense chip. It sits securely in a custom-made plastic bracket. Take the chip. You pop the chip out of the bracket and pocket it. A few seconds later, an angry hissing sound comes from somewhere deep within the drone. Step back. As you step away from the drone, the hissing sound grows into a roar. Bright white sparks spit out from the drone's melting chassis and streaks across the room. You've seen this kind of reaction before. Thermite. Whoever built the drone must have wired it with a self-destruct device. Within seconds, all that's left of the little drone is a molten wreck of the charging cradle. Foul-smelling smoke pours from the remains. You steal another glance at the chip that you recovered and turn away. But yeah, one of these rooms, there's a code to figure out how to like turn that, put in the code for the drone so you can get the SimSense chip that way. You don't have to, but like I said, you get a little reward if you do. Extra reward if you play your cards right anyway. The broken body of a human man lies on the floor. His face is a mesh of fresh cuts and congealed blood, and his head is oddly deformed. Despite his wounds, his mouth is twisted into a macabre smile. Spit the body. Judging by the shape of the ganger's head, you guess that his skull had been fractured in at least 3 places. The center of his forehead is particularly gruesome. It looks soft, as though the skin were stretched like a tent between shards of broken bone. Looking up, you can see a great smear of gore on the door of the room that you found him in. The implications are clear. This man bashed his own head in trying to get out. He did it with a smile on his face. His hands are badly broken, too. You've seen these sorts of injuries after bare-knuckle fistfights, but never anything this severe. This man punched something hard and went on punching it until his hands were reduced to useless slabs of meat. If you have Biotech 4, we can get some extra info out of it. Draw a medical conclusion. All of these symptoms point to one thing. Something drove this ganger into a homicidal fury, and that fury didn't die out until he did. You've heard of pharmaceuticals that can cause this sort of reaction. PCP, Datura, substitute cathepines, but without a lab test, there's no way to say for sure what drove him to this. Step away. He had a bad trip, man. Alright, nothing else in here? Okay. Keep taking a look around this place. Not quite done. There's a couple more spots we can check before we do that, so... Alright. Now, there's a ledger right here. This is where you can get the password for the drone, by the way. There's a small ledger lying on the crate. The cover is cheap leatherette, and the paper is tissue-thin newsprint. Leaf through the pages. The pages are filled overflowing with handwritten text. You don't recognize the language, but judging by the accent marks, you guess it is the Scandinavian tongue. While you can't read it, the arrangements of the text tells you that the ledger is primarily being used as an address book. Pocket the book and move on. The forklift tires are flat. It looks like it hasn't been used in years. Okay. I think we're good on everything in here. See, I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I could look at. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at my notes just to make sure something really quick. So, yeah, we get the password if we talk to Eiger about the ledger. So, as you approach, you can see that the engineer's chest is smeared with blood. Most of it seems to be streaming from his nose, which had been crushed into a wad of bloody meat. Eiger turns to face you. Her bunched fists are dripping red. Find anything? She speaks to you through clenched teeth. Her voice sounds strained, and her cheeks are flushed. I thought you said that we weren't going to resort to torture. This isn't torture, it's justice. If you know half of what this bastard has done, if you'd heard the things that he just told me, you'd do the same. Maybe so, but you're on edge. I need you to calm. Being on him isn't helping. She pauses and turns away. Just tell me what you found. Yes. Yes, please. The engineer's voice is thick and wet. He smiles through a set of gore-streaked teeth. Enlighten us. I found this ledger. I don't recognize the language, but it looks Scandinavian. Eiger leads through the journal, quickly flipping the Skoikaf-stained pages. Norwegian, maybe? I'm thinking that this is written in Black Mile. She frowns. I can't read it, but it looks like a shipping manifest. Yeah, something like that. There's a lot of addresses in here. She rifles through the pages, flipping the cheap paper with her thumbnail. Looks like addresses all the way through. Some are annotated, and others I can't see any names. 2/3 of the way through the book, she stops short. Find something interesting? Wordlessly, she turns the journal around, and at the top of the page, written in a different hand, is a single word. It's written in English, but you can understand it all the same. She nods. Yeah, not particularly helpful without a full date, but I guess it's something. Of course, Wednesday might not refer to a day of the week at all. Could be a code for something. Taken out of context like this, it's impossible to say. Wednesday is the code for the drone, by the way. So what do you make of this? This should be good. Eiger ignores him. Her gaze remains fixed on the book. It might mean nothing, or could mean that he's back in bed with the Lybacheski Syndicate. The engineer holds his stance. Is that all, Yuji, or taking orders from your old bosses again? He pauses a moment before creaking out an answer. Maybe. Who's to say? What's happened? You are, if you know what's good for you. You're gonna hit me again. Okay, then yes, I am working for the Lobcheskis. You want names? I'll give you names. More names than you know what to do with. What's happening on Wednesday, Yuli? He mouths, twists into a bloody grin. This Wednesday, I'll be putting your mother to work on the street corner, and when she's all worn out, I'll give your father a shot at the job. You can do better than that. Go die in a ditch. Did you find anything else? We need to be sure about this before moving forward. I found a body in the other room. From the looks of him, he tried using his head to beat down a steel-reinforced door. Interesting, but not unusual in these parts. There are all kinds of drugs that could make a person act that way. Most of them aren't hard to get in a place like Chateauneuf. Have you found anything else? The Simpsons chimp. There's a pile of courier drones in the other room. No markings. They look custom built. One of them had been slagged, but the other had this chip in its storage compartment. When you produce the chip, the engineer's eyes widen slightly. He turns his head and coughs rack his body. Interesting. This means something to you, Yui. Eiger takes the chip from you and holds it up to the light. No identifying markings? I've seen enough BTLs in my time to know one when I see it, but this is different. It's been modified somehow. Go ahead and slaughter it, bitch. It'll take you on the ride of your life. Eiger raises an eyebrow. Smack him for me, will you? I'm busy. Eiger, refresh my memory. What's a BTL? You don't get out much, do you? A BTL is a kind of Simpsons chip. Stands for better than life. They're cheap, easy to find, and incredibly addictive. People have died of dehydration while riding BTL highs. It's pretty common on the streets. They just say plugged in until their bodies give out. Not a pretty way to go, believe me. And speaking of which, look at Yuli's temples. See that sweat beating up? I say that our friend here has developed himself a habit. You don't know what you're loading, slag. He spits the words out like venom. His eyes are locked on the chip in Eiger's hands. Slowly, he licks his lips. You don't deserve to touch that chip. Yeah, I thought this guy was a professional. He is. He is. I know his rep. I know he's not much too careful to get himself addicted to Sims. He glances at the engineer. His eyes are locked on the chip. If their things have him hooked this badly, it must have even more addicted than standard BTLs. If you have Etiquette Street, you can get a little extra dialogue, which is, this wouldn't be the first time something like that has hit the streets. Talk with enough sim junkies and you hear all about it, but I don't have that, so that's a frightening thought. You're telling me the last thing that we need is more sim junkies on our street. She turns to face the engineer. Got anything to add to that, Yuli? You have no idea how wrong you are. How about all of this? He struggles to rise from the floor, but his muscles refuse to cooperate. Finally gives up with a scowl. If I could move my arms, I'd take that chip from you and show you what it does. I'm sure that you would. She glances over her shoulder at you. Good find, Buckfire. We stuck a nerve. Any other thoughts? Yeah, actually, I think that I might know where the other chip went. Remember that body I found in the other room? Yeah, good thought. Go check out, but be quick. I don't know how long it will be before we have company here. I'm on it. And all we have to do is just check that body again. The ruined body lies crumpled on the floor. Its fractured skull glistens wetly in the light. Search for the missing chip. Peeling back a patch of matted hair, you find something that a casual viewer would have missed. The man had a chip jack. It's a cheap model, sufficient for loading Simpsons chips and BTLs, but little else. It doesn't take much effort for you to pry it open. Inside the chip jack, you find a glob of plastic. It looks like whatever this guy was running melted down sometime after he slotted it. A chip jack like this couldn't generate enough heat to destroy a Simpsons chip. The only logical conclusion is that the chip itself was wired to melt down after use. Take the burnt out chip and leave. Alright. Let me take a quick save here really quick. Just in case anything happens. I usually don't do this, but you never know, so I might make a little mess up. So the engineer's eyes remain locked on the chip. His face has gone pallid white, and his shirt is drenched with sweat. His eyes bulge, and his breathing is heavy. Eiger glances up you from the romantic captive and looks you in the eye. Find what you're looking for? Melted Simpsons chip. Yeah, I pried this chip jack open and found a glob of melted plastic inside. It was still warm to the touch. Eiger examines the remnants of the chip in your fingers. I've heard things of this before. Single-use Sims designed to self-destruct after they've slotted. Keeps the customers from using the same BTL over and over again. I say that you found a missing chip. Yeah, I agree, but the gang who slotted this wasn't blissed out like normal Sim junk, because it was almost the opposite. He looked like wild, like a madman. Madman! The engineer lets out a chuckle, its hoarse, barking sound. You don't know a damn thing! I know that you'd love to get your hands on that chip Eiger's holding, if you could move your hands, that is. Hatred burns in the engineer's stare. He struggles to rise from the floor, but after a few seconds of ineffectual thrashing, he gives up. You really want this thing, don't you? She waves the chip in front of his eyes. This is junkie behavior. Whatever this thing is, you're hooked on it. He snarls up at Eiger, his face skewed into a look of pure hatred. The chip is everything! Everything! It's worth dying for! I was ignorant once like you, but then my eyes were opened, and I saw. The chip slot one, and you become a god! Eiger stares at him, her expression flat. The engineer sneers. I too was a skeptic. Then the wolf caught me, and the raven opened my eyes. And now, at least, I can see! Suddenly he lurches forward. Every muscle in his body goes tight, and the cords stand out on his neck. Give me the chip! It was promised to me! Need it! Tell us who you're working for, and it's all yours. The engineer spits out a mouthful of blood. It hits the tile floor with a sickening splat. He grinds his teeth, then snarls out a single word. Winter night! There's a moment of silence. Finally, Eiger speaks. Never heard of them. Of course you haven't, bitch! If you had, you'd already be dead. They don't leave loose ends. His body begins to tremble. It looks like the drugs are wearing off. They have money, she-troll. Money, influence, enough to put the syndicate to shame. Even I cannot say how much but I do know that what I've seen is just the tip of the spear. Alright, let's say you're telling the truth and some sort of secret society is behind this. What do you think? What do they want with Shadowrun Nest? They do not tell me these things. All I know is that they want to store things here. Crates, boxes, shipped in from all over. No cargo inspections and no trace back to them. And what are they shipping in? Weapons, drugs, more of these BTLs? He eyes her incredulously. You think that I asked them? It is not my place to know. All that I know is that I was promised to me. Give me the chip. His voice comes out in a shivering screech. You promised. He promised you the chip. Eiger smiles at the engineer. Slowly, she pulls a knife from her belt. Its serrated edge glints in the light. I, on the other hand, did not offer you a goddamn thing. Put the knife away, Eiger. I gave him my word. She turns to stare at you. You're not suggesting that we'll let this monster live, are you? Do you know that going to happen when this hyperware powers back up? I'm suggesting that we keep my promise. If he wants the chip so badly, give it to him. She looks at the chip in her fingers, then down at the engineer's trembling body. Slowly, a smile spreads across her face. Not unless he sweetens the deal. You heard that, Julie? I'll give you what you want, but you need to make it worth my while. He licks his lips and nods feverishly. I have a stash here in this warehouse. A custom rifle. It's all yours if you give me what is mine. Eiger looks back over you and raises an eyebrow. I could use a new rifle. What do you think, Felicita? Deal. Once we know where the stash is, give him the chip. The engineer nods feverishly. Over there, in the corner. There's a duffel bag under the floor plate. Give it to me. All right, Julie. It's all yours. Eiger leans in and grabs the engineer's head with her left hand, then pries the chip jack open with her right. She slaps the chip into the jack, then clicks it shut. Seconds pass. Nothing happens. What have you done? I don't feel anything. Oops. Sorry, Yuri. I guess the cyberware deactivator shut down your chip jack, too. Somewhere in the back of that added skull, I'm sure that you probably knew that, but then hope springs eternal, doesn't it? I said that we'd give you the chip. I never promised that it would work. I'm going to kill you! Do you hear me? I'll rip out your spine! Never promised I'd let you live either, Eiger. The blade of her knife glints in the light. You don't have to ask me twice. Suddenly the engineer's entire body buckles forward. His eyes bulge out of his skull and he beats the back of his head against the floor. He opens his mouth to speak, but the only sound that comes out is a gurgled scream. Eiger takes a step back, her knife lowers slightly. Something's wrong. Look at his hands. The orc's metal spec cyber arms are twitching. His fingers seem to be moving of their own accord, writhingly aimlessly in the air. The light of his chipjack begins to blink. How long was that cyberware deactivator supposed to last? She reaches for a shotgun. Longer than this. I'm going to kill Banak Vin. The engineer's body surges forward, a violent convulsive motion. His eyes bulge out of his skull. Then his chest evaporates in a spray of light. Whoa! Step back by fire! Way back! By your watch, the chemical fire that rages from the engineer's body blackens his flesh and spits sparks across the room. It's the same reaction that he saw when the drone went up, a thermite reaction. It takes him a full minute to stop twitching. His employer Winter Night, they must have implanted that thing in him. Yeah, judging by the way he reacted, he didn't know what they had done. They must have thrown it in while he was getting other work done. I'm willing to bet that if he didn't use the cyberware deactivator on him, he'd have gone up before we had the chance to spill any names. If I were looking for proof of who his employer was, I think this was it. She nods and casts a final glance at the charred remains of the engineer. Yeah, we know who to run the flux state about. Let's grab the rifle and go. We're done here. Alright, let's check the vent. Yeah, if you don't have that SimSense chip, you can't, like, get any extra information out of him. He eventually dies no matter what. It's just, you get this little reward, so. You reach into the vent and retrieve a navy blue duffel bag, just as the engineer said you would. The distinctive shape of the rifle barrel can be seen through the canvas. Here you go, Eiger, all yours. So what this rifle is, it's a nice addition to Eiger's repertoire, and now she'll have a really good mid-range weapon. So shotgun for close range, the rifle for mid-range, and then the sniper rifle for long range. So she takes the bag from you and unzips it. Her eyes go wide. When he said that this was custom, he wasn't kidding. Gingerly, she reaches into the bag and pulls out a sleek, angular shape. This is a Steiger IUG CSL multi-weapon system, a very nice and very expensive piece of hardware. Yuri put a lot of aftermarket work into this. I don't even recognize some of the accessories he bolted into this thing. You feel comfortable using it? She shoulders the rifle and peers through its scope. A grin grows on her face. Yes, I do. It looks like these aftermarket mods have more or less locked it into an assault rifle configuration, but that's alright. I've been looking for a very worthy mid-range weapon. This will do nicely. She slings the rifle and then clasps you on the shoulder. Come on, fearless leader. Let's get back to work. Alright. Hang on, Eiger. I'm not comfortable leaving Winter Night to the Flux Day. I think we should handle them ourselves. What you're suggesting is beyond the scope of our capabilities. I don't have any contacts in Norway. We wouldn't even know where to begin to look for Winter Night, and we found them. What then? The two of us aren't going to stop an international conspiracy on our own. We're good, but we're not that good. Speak for yourself. She rolls her eyes. Alright, one-man army, believe what you want, but even if you could take them down on your own, you don't have time. We still got a dragon to deal with, remember? We can't take the time to go scouring the Norwegian countryside looking for a secret society. Let the F-state worry about protecting Berlin's borders. That's what it's there for. Alright, Eiger, you win. Let's go home. Yeah, that would be if they had an extended story to this campaign, you would have done something like that, but nope. It's all said and done, so we're good to go. So, yeah, let's get out of here. So, all right, return to the cruise bazaar. Yeah, that's it for it. So, yeah, Short little mission, nothing too, well, I guess short. I mean, it took me a whole episode, but Cruise Bazaar. The U-Bahn whisks you back towards the Cruise Bazaar. Eiger standing by your side, the image of the engineer's body disintegrated into flame replays itself over and over in your mind. The bright flesh, the shower of sparks, the overpowering stench of sizzling meat, a blue-green afterimage hangs suspended in the center of your field of vision, and it refuses to be blinked away. From what Eiger told you, the engineer was a menace, an international criminal at the top of his game, and as you watched, he was consumed from within by a device that marked him as disposable. The rattle of your U-Bahn car coming to a halt shakes you from your reverie. You're home. Alright. We're done with that, but one last thing before we finish out Eiger's little storyline. And we also get some karma for doing the mission in the first place, so let's go talk to Eiger and finish this episode. And no one else has extra dialogue. It's not considered a main mission, so you can't get extra information from everyone, so. Alright, Eiger. Welcome back. Eiger welcomes you with a nod. Back via? What can I do for you? Any thoughts on the last run? Nothing we haven't talked about already. Okay. We should talk about what happened with the engineer. She nods. Agreed. I'm ready to go over there too. You are. So the engineer was working for a secret society. I wasn't expecting that. By the way, it is possible not to get Winter Night as a thing, so the dialogue in the mission ends differently because if you don't get the information, so it ends up kind of being a bust because you don't end up learning Winter Night, but you still complete it, so. Neither was I, she frowns. Part of me was still having trouble believing it, but it's true. Yuli wasn't lying. I could see it in his eyes. Have you been able to do any digging on Winter Night? No, there just isn't much reliable information out there. Whoever these guys are, they are very good at information control. None of my contacts could find anything but rumor and conjecture, and most of that is too crazy to even consider. How crazy are we talking here? Completely insane. Stories about magical nukes and the end of the world. Fenris shamans, Ragnarok, that kind of thing. She shakes her head. Like I said, nuts. I think that's just talk about the extended Shadowrun book world and stuff like that. Nothing we'll ever come across, but it's a reference to that. There are a lot of crazy things going on in this world. That doesn't mean they're not real. She nods slowly. Yes, there are. No, it doesn't. But this is just too far out of me to accept. It's far more likely that they have released these stories themselves to throw people off of whatever they're really doing. Anyway, we stopped them cold at Shattersnest. Whatever their business, whatever was going to be in those crates that the engineer was having shipped, it isn't our problem anymore. The cruisers are safe on that front, at least. Yeah, it is, and we've got you to thank for that. And you, don't downplay what you did back there. Anyway, we shouldn't let it go to our heads. We still have a dragon to worry about. When I left the room to search for clues, the engineer told you something that pushed you over the edge. Her eyes narrow. That son of a bitch said a lot of things. What of it? What do you think? You knew that we needed, but you're being in battle and worried about that lapse of control. You don't need to be. There's nothing wrong with my self-control. I made a choice to unload on Yuli because he was a murderous asshole. I knew how much pressure to apply, which bones to break, and which ones to leave alone. I did all of those things. But why? What did he tell you to push you to that point? It takes her a long time to respond. When she does, her voice carries a tone of resignation. You really want to know? Alright, fine, I'll tell you. He told me about a bunch of Polish towns that my unit swept for syndicate activity. He told me how the mob pulled back in right after we left, and what they did to the people who accepted our help. He told me about the beatings, the rapes, the killing rooms, the torture, and worse. He relished it in describing it, the relentless, hideous barbarism of it all meant to teach some sort of lesson. I think that's the cruelest part of this entire story. Those people, they didn't need a lesson in how terrible life can be. They live within that every day. Yuli seemed to find all this hilarious. Yeah, I know that he was pushing my buttons on purpose, and yeah, I know that he was trying to make me lose control. But the hell with it, he deserved a good beating. Yuli didn't pull any punches, so I didn't pull any punches. Yeah, and if you have a problem with that, you can go and get fucked. Calm down, Eiger. We're both on the same team here. I know, sorry. I guess I'm still a little on edge about this, which is exactly what Yuli wanted, of course. She grits her teeth. I just can't help thinking, what if he wasn't playing me? What if those things did happen? If I leave things where they stand, there'll always be some hope that he was lying. But if I dig into this and find that he was telling the truth, if I found out that none of what we did meant anything... Even if he was telling the truth, that doesn't validate what your unit was doing over there.
Doesn't it? Our actions might have drawn attention to those people, might have made them targets.
They were already targets. You need to quit beating yourself up over this, Eiger. It isn't like you. She gives you a brisk nod.
You're right, it isn't. No more mupping about. I promised, and I will look into this backfire. Whatever this trail leads me to, I'll follow it, and I won't stop until I find the truth.
I'm willing to help you see this through if you wanted the help. She shakes her head.
Thanks, but no, not now, at least. At some point after we're done with what we're doing, I'll look into it. I'll get to the truth, whatever it might be, but I'm not going to do it today.
Putting this off isn't going to make it easier.
We still have a situation to deal with, remember? Vauldemare and the fire thing? Stopping the engineer was worth doing. It was a distraction from our mission, but these things happen. On the other hand, this personal history bullshit, it's good wait. Now, let's change back. Is there anything else from the run that you'd like to go over?
She folds her arms across her chest.
If you have any thoughts, I want to hear them.
Have you had a chance to play with that rifle that we got from the engineer's stash?
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece of engineering. Shoots straight, has good stopping power, holds a big magazine.
She nods appreciatively.
A really nice gun.
You mentioned a bunch of aftermarket mods when we found it. Have you figured out what they do yet?
Just one. You can tag a chambered round with an RF transmitter. After the round hits a target, the transmitter pings on designated channel, broadcasting the target's exact location to anyone listening in. In layman's terms, you can use the same to mark a target. There's a cyberware that does the same thing, and deckers do it all the time.
Yeah, I have that ability. So, basically she can do that now with that rifle.
This is the first time I've seen this kind of functionality on a rifle.
Not bad at all.
Agreed. I've been reluctant to cart an AR along with me up until now. In my opinion, the added mid-range stopping power didn't justify the trouble of carrying another big bulky weapon into the field. Being a walking arsenal is fine and good, but it's also noisy and cumbersome, and those are two things that every snapper tries to avoid.
She pats the engineer's rifle.
The thing, though, that this adds enough utility to think it's worth the extra weight. I'll find a way to make it work.
Alright, Eiger. Thanks for the talk.
Thank you, fearless leader, both for the chat and for the assist on the run. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Nothing right now, Eiger. And that's it for Eiger's storyline. Because, yeah, this is one of those worlds where it doesn't get all wrapped up into a pretty bow, so you can make your assumptions of what happens after the story is over. But that's it for Eiger. We've earned her loyalty and her mission, and you should get an achievement for helping her with... Actually, there might be like one more chapter where you get some extra stuff, but we're basically on the road to getting her achievement for that, so... Alright, well, the mission's done. Eiger is a loyal member. Who's next? Well, the slotted glory is next. What awaits us in the Harrow? Will we be able to destroy the Harrow? Save the children? We'll find out next time in the next episode of Shadowrun Dragonfall. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.